There's a deadly new drug menace sweeping across the Pacific onto the American scene. It's a smokable form of speed called ice, and it's said to hook a user after just one hit. Ice is already causing major problems here in Honolulu, and it's finding its way onto the mainland. Drug experts say if you thought crack was bad, you haven't seen anything yet.
Get your hands up! Get your hands up!
It's worse than crack.
Okay, 61, I'm going to need you to spell the last name for me.
I think it'll take over.
Ice will stop your life. Crystal, ice, batu, shabu, glass. All names for the new and deadly smokable form of methamphetamine, a powerful stimulant that's crept into the Hawaiian Islands from the Orient. Have you ever heard of this drug called ice?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Is that going around in the clubs? Is it going around?
Clubs, yes.
Everywhere you turn.
It's there.
Kids like a teenager will call a coup are part of this tragic new American drug story.
You want more, you want more. And after that, you lose control, you start hitting the walls, start hurting people that you really love, like your mother, like your father. You know, you can kill that person. You know, if you're on this stuff, you can actually kill that person just to get the money.
Young women like Michelle, who would never think about injecting speed, are willing to smoke this 99% pure crystal meth.
I just smoked so much that I started to get weak and I didn't eat. I would have kept smoking, but the thing that made me stop was I started to hallucinate.
Ironically, beautiful Hawaii, sun-baked paradise, has earned itself the dubious title, the ice capital of America. In seedy sections of Honolulu that tourists rarely see, ice is sold openly.
For $50, you get about 3 pieces of ice.
Using a hidden camera, a member of our crew is approached with an offer to buy ice.
I got a bottle pipe.
Right.
I'm charging, bottle pipes down here is $20.
Right.
I'll charge you $5 for I'll give you my bottle pipe.
It descended upon us with great speed. The best analogy I can use to describe it is what has happened to a lot of mainland communities with crack.
Ice is extremely addicting. One hit will keep a user high for about 15 hours. The high is said to be very intense, and so is the paranoia people experience. Emergency rooms in Honolulu report a huge increase in ice-related cases. And more mothers are giving birth to babies addicted to ice.
If they're severely affected, they also have a small head circumference, which means they have a small brain.
They tend to be very tremulous and shaky, and a lot of times you'll see the baby suddenly start shaking like this. Very fine kinds of tremors. Also, they're very easily disturbed. Just picking them up very gently a lot of times will set them off.
And paramedics encounter violence on the streets.
Beating up the walls, kicking the doors, and screaming, yelling. That's the worst that I've ever seen. Scariest thing I ever saw.
The horror stories seem endless. A local student tried for attempted murder after allegedly shooting his teacher. The student's reported defense: he was high on ice.
The teachers didn't deserve what happened.
We're not totally in control of the problem.
Major Mike Carvalho of the Honolulu Police Department is fighting the ice epidemic. The figures don't look good.
What about arrests? Have you seen a big increase in the number of arrests you're making, people using ice?
In 1988, we had 203 arrests, and 1989, 604. Now, that's an increase of over 400 arrests.
Get your hands up! Get your hands up!
As on the mainland, ice is finding its way into the Honolulu gang scene, getting their ice supply from the Far East, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Korea. It's being smuggled through Honolulu International Airport.
What is here is evidence from seized from a very recent seizure.
Richard Keller is the Drug Enforcement Agency's top cop in Honolulu. Last month, his agents and the HPD seized 13 pounds of ice, worth nearly $2 million on the street. They also confiscated $900,000 in cash and a number of automatic pistols. It's the biggest ice bust in Hawaii history.
This is actually how it was seized.
It was already packaged.
It's already packaged for in 8-ounce packages or 4-ounce packages for sale.
1 ounce of ice can go for $7,000 compared to only $1,500 for an ounce of Coke. That makes it very attractive to the dealers.
There are more ice arrests by the police and us than any other drug on this island.
The wave of ice that swept across the Hawaiian Islands has now found its way across the Pacific to the mainland. Here in San Francisco, where new drugs often make their debut, drug experts have seen a 30-fold increase in the use of ice in the past year alone. And they say it may be only the beginning of a new and vicious drug epidemic. We found this woman screaming in a state of massive paranoia on the streets of San Francisco. Drug counselors suspected she was high on ice. People try to help her, but no one seems to be able to reach her.
What's wrong, dear?
We would take her to help, unfortunately, but we can't take her to psychiatric treatment. We have to take her to jail.
Eventually, a man who knows this woman persuades her to go with him, and they walk off into the twilight.
Patients who've been doing ice are very difficult to manage because they're so wild, they're so paranoid, they're so violent.
Dr. Alex Stalcup of the Haight-Ashbury Drug Clinic is on the front lines of this dangerous new drug wave.
Ice is powerful. They can't stand to come down from it because coming down is associated with brutal depression, suicidal depression.
Last spring, Dr. Stalcup was seeing 1 ice case a month. Now he sees 2 or 3 cases a day. Robin is one of his patients.
I was just getting real irritated. I was starting to see things, hear things.
Robin, 32 years old, says she never used hard drugs before. But one day, her friends persuaded her to try just 1 hit of ice.
One minute it was Halloween, the next it was Thanksgiving. I just floated on through. I don't even remember not sleeping or anything. I didn't even notice night or day, to be truthful.
Robin says she was up for 23 days straight, hitting the ice pipe every 15 minutes. She lost more than 50 pounds during her binge, and she almost killed someone.
I beat this girl up pretty bad, and I was going to cut her throat, but someone jumped on me before I got a chance to do that, and I really wanted to kill this girl.
For any reason?
She just was talking to me at the wrong time.
When Robin finally came down, she slept for days. Her eyes now constantly twitch, her gums are rotted out, and her lungs are badly congested from the heat of ice vapor.
Do you think it would have killed you if you hadn't stopped?
Oh, yeah. It's like a slow suicide.
Raven is another victim of the ice epidemic. He bought 1 $20 crystal, thought he'd try it once, and got far more than he bargained for.
I knew that I was spinning, which is the out-of-control part, being spun, and so I locked myself indoors.
Like Robin, Raven was up for days, entering a world filled with insanity.
First of all, you're awake for a long period of time, so you begin to suffer from paranoia, sleep deprivation, where you see all sorts of things out of the corners of your eyes and sometimes sitting there right in front of you. It's really hard to distinguish between reality and what's not real.
Raven says 1 ice high was enough for him, and he fears for those who get hooked on it.
Ice will stop your life, period.
Police uncovered the first ice lab on the mainland in a house in Sacramento, California. They found 4 pounds of ice, and more crystal from this lab is believed to have been shipped to Colorado and to New York.
We've been receiving intelligence from the authorities in Hawaii for quite some time, and they've been warning us that it was coming, and I guess we're always optimistic, hoping it won't happen, but obviously it has happened.
I'm sure that we will be the ice capital of the world, as we are right now, the speed capital of the world.
Ed Sinicki heads up one of California's clandestine lab task forces in Metro LA. There are more speed labs in Southern California than anywhere else in the U.S.
Police department, we have a search warrant. Demand entry.
The speed lab is easily converted to an ice lab, which raises the specter of a vast new source of this deadly drug.
I think that we will be seeing ice going into the inner city. I think it's worse than crack. We're going to be seeing more people addicted quicker and easier.
This is a killer drug. It's got a lot of stuff that you don't want. It destroys your systems, makes you just melt away like you want to die. Because believe me, if you take this drug, each time you take a hit, you're like creeping up into the graveyards.